Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we're going to talk about somewhat the reign of the PlayStation 4 finally being over, with the PlayStation 5 going and completely, absolutely rocking the sales, and as well also might actually still become one of the fastest selling consoles of all time. We also have some really big news when it comes to Bethesda and the next upcoming huge Bethesda games. Number one, in regards to, a game we actually may have lost in order to go get a brand new game, but as well, also the fact that some Xbox games are actually running even better on the PlayStation 5. Very, very intriguing enough. So you have a little bit of drama going on, a little bit of sales drama going on. So let's go and talk about this, because who doesn't love a nice little sassy video, especially on the good old 420. So if you guys are bored throughout tonight, we'll probably be doing a special stream up on Twitch if you guys want to hang out and chill and follow down below, or to swing by in a few hours or so. We also have the Twitter down below. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Leave a like and your thoughts and comments down below. We'd love to have you guys do whatever. And of course, let's dive into the video itself. So first and foremost, let's go talk about kind of the big old gaming drama. So if you guys do know, there have been a few games that were essentially locked into an exclusive contract with the PlayStation 5 and Sony. And funny enough, some of these games in the past 2 years or so have actually literally been games that have been, now successfully owned by Xbox. And Xbox themselves have basically been like, yeah, we have the contracts, they were signed, we have to go and adhere to them, and that's what happened. But sadly, some of these games actually were running a lot better over here, even on, say, the PlayStation 5. So Xbox's own game actually does run better on the PlayStation 5, where one of Xbox's latest game releases for the Xbox Series X and S actually, funny enough, has major performance issues, and the PlayStation 5 version actually runs better as of right now in its current state. Now, a little bit of a weirder one, at least in my mind, because when it comes to games overall, you would probably think if you bought a company, you own the company, or you're specifically going to be porting something to a company, you're probably going to be having a better version, or at least a better version that was offered before, especially if time has gone on, and especially if it's also a brand new release for your own game company. So this is over here saying, despite Xbox being the owner of Bethesda and Tango Gameworks' Ghostwire Tokyo, which actually I did enjoy the game itself, and it was kind of a nice PlayStation 5 game at the time, the Xbox Series X and S version actually release shows that the game actually goes and even is performing better on the PlayStation 5. Following Xbox's acquisition of Bethesda, Ghostwire Tokyo was released as a one-year console exclusive for the PlayStation 5, and the long-awaited Xbox Series X and S version would finally launch this past week. Which is funny because, once again, they specifically went and spent billions of dollars on Bethesda, and I mean Xbox, so you would think that they, number one, would make sure the game would be running well. This is going to be basically their chance to showcase off. It's almost, I would almost want to say, almost like a trial run for Bethesda, and be like, hey, we bought you, you made this great game for PlayStation, they have really high standards, let's go and try to put these same standards on Xbox, let's knock it out of the park. And I feel like if I was Microsoft and Xbox themselves, if this was one of the very first things that Bethesda has done, I'd be pretty happy. I mean, I'd be pretty sad. I was going to say happy if I was Sony, but I'd just be sad overall. Just that, what is up with this? I'd be firing people. I'd be yelling at people. I'd be like, guys, this is it's almost a showcase of your talent. And this is what we just spent $10 billion on. That's not a good sign. So Ghostwire Tokyo is a first-person, basically action-adventure game. You guys will probably have a chance to see. I beat the game. It looked like a very colorful game. It had cool graphics. It was a nifty game itself. But overall, it was a meh. If you get it on sale or Game Pass, it's probably worth picking up. If you have Game Pass currently, and I think it is on Game Pass 2 as well, yeah, bro, it's not bad. I liked it. So the game itself first came out last year, and with a one-year release window on April 12th, basically, the Xbox Series X and S versions had, basically able to use it. You could play it. But apparently it's already facing a bunch of glaring performance issues. So basically, even go and look through Digital Foundry reveals that Ghostwire Tokyo for the PS5 actually did end up running better than even the newly released, a year later, Xbox Series X and S version. It runs worse than the PlayStation 5 counterpart, and the performance on Xbox Series S appears to be the worst out of all three console versions, although that makes sense though, because the specs are worse. I kind of get them the free pass for that one. The ray trace reflections are somewhat lower quality with various bugs and ray trace shadows. The Xbox's version's quality mode resolution is lower when compared to the same settings in the PlayStation 5. The overall performance is actually 5 to 10% lower depending on which scene you're actually into. And as well, if you compare this to the Xbox Series S, it's even worse and people are not happy. So kind of crazy to go and see this from the Xbox side. Like I said, this is almost like a trial run for Bethesda, and I'd kind of be expecting Bethesda to do better. I'd be expecting Xbox to have their standards up higher, and this might be one of those things where some folks actually might be, I'm not joking, might be getting fired, yelled at, or whatever. Now, kind of some other bigger stuff too, and same thing for Bethesda, is that Bethesda, when it comes to Dishonored 3, they really didn't know if people actually liked the game or wanted to even have the game at all or not. So basically, Dishonored itself was basically kind of canceled Soonerly to go make Deathloop instead. Now, I personally I kind of liked Dishonored 1 and 2 a little bit more. I really did generally enjoy those games. Deathloop was cool. I checked it out, but it wasn't really my style of game. If you guys liked it or disliked it, let me know. Or if you guys would have preferred a Dishonored 3, let me know. But I really did like Deathloop. I thought the game itself was a good experience. I thought it was actually a really fun time. I was going to say it's supposed to be a small project, but apparently not. So basically, Dishonored was Arcane's breakout hit, and it was one of the cooler games out there for sure. And Dishonored 2 failed to bring the series to a lot more folks, but because it was a pretty successful first game, a lot of people enjoyed it. Same with the DLCs too as well. But then Bethesda, because they just weren't sure if people really want to have another Dishonored game or not, they ended up actually making Deathloop. So initially, Deathloop was supposed to be conceived as a small game to keep Arcane occupied and learning before it went to another big project, and Bethesda wanted us to do something, he said. They didn't know really what we're doing with Dishonored. Do we want Dishonored 3? I don't know. Let's make something simple and short before, and let's go and see. And then funny enough, they end up making Deathloop 2 as well. It became just a bigger thing over time, the idea, the funding, the concepts, and everything, and we'll still kind of in this awkward loop to see if we ever would have got Dishonored 3 or not. But apparently at the time, they just didn't want to go have it, so a little bit more interesting in Bethesda news when it came to that. Now, last but not least, is we've actually been seeing some really big sales. So as you guys have kind of had a chance to see this throughout the past few months especially, we've been seeing things that the PlayStation 5 has finally sold over 3 million units in Japan, outpacing the PS3 and PS4. And that's one of the bigger things for prior basically consoles, is you want to look at their numbers to go and see, like, hey, why is the PlayStation 5, is it selling less? Is it selling more? Xbox Series X and S, is it beating the 360? Is it beating the Xbox One? We basically always want to have these companies always expanding. But right now, it kind of goes to show that almost nationwide and also worldwide that the PlayStation's been doing fantastic, but as well, also beating out even the PlayStation 4. Now, that's one of the bigger things too as well. So basically, the US PS5 sales are now tracking ahead of the PS4s on a time-aligned basis, as well as Resident Evil 4 top March's software sales chart. We made a video not too long ago about the sales numbers and all around throughout the UK and Europe itself, but it does kind of seem like the PlayStation 4 is actually finally being beaten. We've been seeing a lot of really big influxes of sales numbers. We've been seeing a lot of really big influxes of pretty much everything in between. And right now, the PlayStation 5 has been doing great. Even in comparison to the numbers we covered yesterday, the European, basically the entire whole continent, was carried by the PlayStation 5. It had like a 400% increase, rounded up, of all the actual overall console sales. It's done very well, while the Nintendo Switch has gone down, and same with the Xbox Series S, which also, once again, has gone down. But it does kind of seem like the PS4, which is basically the prior competitor, you always want to go and one-up your prior game. This is why it's kind of intriguing to go and see this. So basically, the PlayStation 5 sales in the United States have also now overtaken those of the PS4 on the same time-aligned basis. So according to Matt Piscatella, the executive director in video game industry too, as well as we covered, basically says after the basically the PS5 unit sales are now actually tracking ahead of the PlayStation 4s after the first 29 months on the market for both consoles. So basically, if you just had like a flow chart of the same first 30 months with the PS4 and PS5, it basically goes to show that the PS5 is now finally going and taking that massive leap. Now, we've been seeing a really big influx of sales everywhere. Like Japan stock is stabilizing. India stock is stabilizing. We're now actually seeing full-on PlayStation stores, like physical mom-and-pop stores with just pure consoles, Pro controllers and games, etc. But as well, we're also now seeing a lot more general online sales. Like we keep on how it's down the Amazon links down below for folks to go pick up their PlayStation consoles for $510. We're seeing scalper stock going in free falling in prices where people are just basically not able to go and make profits on these scalping consoles because Sony has been doing so well in terms of making consoles. So it does once again kind of seem like the PlayStation 4 as of right this second is, well, I don't want to say obsolete because people are still buying them, funny enough, and also still using them, funny enough, but it is going to seem that the PlayStation 5 has finally overtaken the PlayStation 4, and this is also as comparison like the PS1, PS2, PS Vita, PSP, etc., etc., etc. So it's been going in great. Like basically the big increased stock, the recent price promotions, and now the PlayStation 5 is the best-selling console in units and dollars for both March of 2023 year-to-date too as well. They've had record high sales. They're doing absolutely fantastic. And we've even always seen all these other various games too as well, such as Resident Evil, Hogwarts, and all these other various various games doing very, very well. So we kind of covered this up in prior videos, but yeah, everything's been going insane. We've had huge increases, like we said, like 369% in European countries, and just overall, everything is doing fantastic for the PlayStation 5. So give me your thoughts and comments down below. We'll probably have another quick little video later on throughout today too as well. And of course, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We have the Twitter and Twitch room down below. We have all the Amazon links for all the consoles down below. We also have all the just general links too, so give me your thoughts and comments. We'll go through them. We'll have another video all throughout today too as well. Love you guys.